hello. I am here today with my friend Raul III, who is the author of this book, and this book. Let's meet Raul and find out what he wants to tell us about books. Raul, I'm so glad you're here at the library. Thanks for taking the trip to come talk with me.
I'm super happy to be here. I can't tell you, it was just a surreal experience walking up the staircase and getting a nice little tour beforehand. So thank you for inviting me.
It is a beautiful place. I wish I could show that to everybody and invite everybody in. So you'll have to tell people
I will.
to come to the library. But one thing I want to hear that you're going to tell us, I ask all my authors to come and book talk a book for me. So what have you brought for me today?
Well, so this is a book that I really love, and it came out about a year and a half ago, I would say. And the name of the book is Mexikid. I'm not sure if you've read it, but it's by this amazing author-illustrator named Pedro Martin, or maybe Martin. Pedro Martin. I'm just going to go with that.
He probably does it both ways, depending on who he's talking to. That's how we are.
Exactly. And what I love about Pedro Martin's book, Mexikid, is that it almost feels, as I read it, that it's about, me and my family. Even though his adventures in this book are completely unique, him and his family, they hop into a Winnebago to go pick up their abuelito from somewhere in Mexico to bring him back to the United States where he's going to live the last years of his life. I never did that with my family, but there are so many things that we have in common. For instance, Pedro Martin, he was born in los Estados Unidos in the United States, but he has a Mexican heritage, so he's Mexican American. And there are these little moments that I really felt deeply about. For instance, he doesn't quite feel all Mexican. He doesn't quite feel all American. He's a little bit of both. And one thing that I feel really kind of, that I really related to is that just like me, Pedro loves superhero comics. I mean, I don't leave the house without a comic book in my backpack. That's how much I love them. And I've loved them ever since I was a kid. And these books that were easily accessible, even in towns like the small little dusty towns that him and I grew up in, we could find them, we could find them at the 7-Eleven. And so it's how he becomes an artist or becomes interested in art. And then much later, becomes interested in finding a way to portray his surroundings and his heritage through comic books. And that's why I recommend this book.
I love this book also. I'm so glad you brought this book. Talk about you as a little kid, because I hear you and your brothers were a handful, and your mother had to turn to the library to get some rest from you. So was the library, I mean, it seems like it was a lifesaver for her. Did you and your brothers love the library as much as she did?
Oh, absolutely. The library was like a lifesaver for the entire family. My mom wisely decided to start walking us down to the library. And it was really a magical place for us. My mom tells us, it's the first time I felt like we were part of the community, because they would always invite us back to participate in all sorts of fun things, from art making. I saw jugglers there, puppet shows. I was part of the reading programs. I have like little certificates of participation, reading logs, all sorts of fun and interesting things. And it definitely opened up my eyes to the possibility that books had within them. And after that library in my little part of El Paso closed down, I knew that books existed, and I started searching for them everywhere. So we would go to like secondhand stores, and there'd be a pile of paperbacks, or the grocery stores. I mean, back in the day, this is like the 80s, you could find Stephen King books at the grocery store or comic books at the 7-Eleven. That isn't so much a possibility now, but I know that the library definitely resulted in me being much more open to searching for books.
I could feel your library love when I read your book, Vamos. I think it's Let's Go to the Library, or what's the name of the?
Vamos, let's go read.
Let's go read, that's right. But it's about this sort of magical library.
Yeah.
And I saw
Yeah.
all the different, I'm guessing that the things that you describe in there were based on the things you most loved about being at the library.
Yeah, and not just from my childhood, but there have been so many moments in my life where libraries and librarians have resulted in like very important changes in my own life and in my career. So there's a moment in Vamos, Let's Go Read where there's a Señor Duende is teaching comic book workshops. A long time ago, I was kind of at my wit's end as to how to become a famous artist, you know? And I'm not sure what possessed me, but on that particular day, I wandered into the library in Davis Square in Somerville, and I decided to share my comic book drawings with a librarian whose name is Karen Kramer. And she flipped through them, and the first thing she said was, "Hey, would you be interested in teaching comic book workshops at the library?" And I was like, "Absolutely, this sounds fantastic." And that's when I began teaching, and through teaching, I learned so much more about comic books and graphic novels.
So what is it about telling a story visually that's maybe different or really appealing to you? Like, would you write a picture book without illustrating it, or what is it about the illustration?
Well, that's a great question. You know, and I've never written a book that isn't meant to be illustrated, so I'm not sure how I would ever deal with just writing a chapter book or just a novel.
So do you see story as picture all the time?
Yeah. So or you know, I am writing a book knowing how much fun I am going to have illustrating it. But I definitely receive a lot of my ideas first as pictures, and then I know that I can write a story about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice that you want to give the kids who love art and who maybe aren't from, you know, a family that has writers and illustrators and so on in it? What would you say?
So I would say one of the best places to begin, if you really love drawing, illustrating, writing, is to at first just enjoy it. Enjoy drawing whatever it is you're drawing, whether it's the characters that you're watching on TV, characters that you're reading from the graphic novels you just checked out at the library. But eventually, you're going to realize that this is something that you're taking more seriously than you ever expected. And at that point, it's always fun and always very insightful to find out more about the people who are making the things that you love. But once you figure out like who your heroes are, then you could find out more information about them, and it's a lot easier to follow in somebody's footsteps, because especially today, where you might be able to watch this video or any other video by any other one of your favorite creators, you learn a little bit about how they started, and it'll show you that you are actually on the right path. And if you keep going forward, eventually you'll be able to do exactly what we're doing.
Raul, it has been such a joy
Thank you.
to have you here. Thank you for making such beautiful work.